Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Massell Creations. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, I'm going to do something a little different. We are going to make some cork board tacks. So these are just simply, I have taken these shapes here and I've poured some resin into them, and I've made these different colored shapes. And then I took the backs of them and I just added a little tack. I believe I ordered these tacks from, I think I got them on Temu. I'll put a link below. But you just get this nice little box of them, and it comes with, I don't know, probably 50 of these in a little box, and we just glued those to the back. So I'm going to show you how I did that. We're going to do these in UV resin because it's Friday and I need to get a video out today to you because we are leaving for Albuquerque, New Mexico tomorrow, and this way I can get it out before we take off and maybe get one out when we get back. So I'm just going to take these 4 smaller ones and I'm just going to drop some UV resin in it. And I am playing this by ear. I don't have a game plan actually for this other than we're just going to make some tacks. So we'll start with that. And then let's drop some alcohol ink into these. So I can do, how about, oops, if I flail it across there. We're going to do 1 in coffee. So it'll be like a brown color. I'm just going to put 1 drop in there. I don't want it super dark. And let's try a gate. I think it's like an orangish red, I think. There we go. You know what? Let's do a couple of colors in these. Like I said, we are winging it today because I don't have a game plan. And let's do green. I don't want to put green in with that red one. I don't want it to look like Christmas. And let's put purple in with that red. We'll do 1 purple in with this green. How about navy in with this other green? And then I think to brighten all of the colors up, I'm going to add pearl white. Just to kind of brighten all the colors. There we go. All right. And I got my little micro brush, and I'm just going to give this a swirly swirl. And we'll just see what happens. Those are pretty. Okay. My circle's kind of already there, but there we go. That's better. We got way more coverage on it. Okay, so I'm going to put this under my UV lamp for a couple minutes and let that cure, and then we will be right back. So while this finishes curing, we're going to go ahead and do add some glitter in there. Get our top coat ready. So I'm just going to pour some of this UV resin in a cup, and then, as always, go to my unicorn crushed crystal. And I'm just going to get a little bit and pour in there. Cover that up. And we're just going to mix that in. And I don't want to mix vigorously because I don't want to incorporate bubbles. So I'm just going to start nice and slow. The resin doesn't need mixed. We just need to intermix the crushed crystal into the resin. So just like that. So now you can really see the glitter. And we're just going to pour that on top of our little shapes here. All right. And that domed all of those pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and put that under the light and cure it again. And then we will be back to demold and put the backs on. All right, so these are all fully cured. We're just going to pop them out. So when I am not working on something right away, or even if I do, when I'm done with the curing process underneath the lamp, I'll take them out and put them like in my kitchen or here in my craft room. I have a spot. Oh, I don't know how I got all that over for. I have a spot just a little bit off my desk where the sun comes in, and I'll set my UV projects in the sunlight for however long. Sometimes it's a couple days until I get back in here, or even if it's just a couple hours, because the sun really seems to help a ton with setting these up. You don't want to take them outside in the heat of the day. That would make them soft, and that would be an issue. But to just set them in my craft room where it's a controlled temperature in the sunlight, I can usually get these suckers set. And maybe it's just because my UV lamp isn't as strong as it could be. But it'll set this stuff in a heartbeat. So I got a spot in my kitchen that's facing to the east. And I'll put it, if I've got a project that I want to cure pretty quickly, I'll put it in there in the mornings, and then I bring it in here at night, because then I get the sun setting in the west in my craft room. So that way it gets some sun exposure too and helps with that curing process. So it makes them really get set up quick. So I'll do that after I'm completely done with these in here. So these turned out really cute. I'll file that one down. So that's what they look like. Whoops. With all the glitter on the top. So they turned out super cute. So now the next step, let me file this one real quick. The next step is to flip them over and put the back on them. And if you can tell that I'm filing it at an angle. You don't want to file it straight up and down in the sides, because that'll scratch the side of your project, and you don't want to do that. And I always try and put them on the back of another silicone mold, because I don't want to scratch the fronts, especially if they're not fully cured. I have not put these in the sunshine yet, or they haven't been under the lamp very long, so I'm just trying to get this done before we leave. So I don't want the table to scratch them or anything. So I put them on a silicone mold so that when I push these down, I don't cause any damage to the other side. And then what I do is I secure these two ways. I use some E6000 to initially attach them to the backs. And then once this is dry, I'll come back and I'll coat it with a layer of UV resin, just to make sure that it gets sealed in there really well and it never comes off. It just takes a little teeny little bit. Now, if you ever used E6000, but this stuff it's good, strong stuff. And anytime you use a metal feeling tube like this, when you squeeze it, especially if you squeeze it hard, this stuff continues to come out forever and ever and ever. So you don't want to push down on it very hard. Otherwise, the E6000 you'll be putting the cap on, and this stuff will still be oozing out of it. So then hurry up and cap it before it does come out. And then I just make sure you get it as centered as you possibly can and push it down nice and tight. There we go. This one looks good, so I'm just going to push it down. Whoops, it shifted. There we go. And that one I missed the center completely. There we go. Now I'll let these dry, and then I'll come back over it with some UV resin, and I'll just coat the entire back of it, including I'll go over top of this metal piece here. So I'll coat the entire back and go over that. And then that way the back is sealed into the resin as well, so that this won't ever come out. Unless it breaks, the whole piece breaks, that won't come out. So we'll be back as soon as it dries. All right, so now that these have cured, or the glue is dried, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to just put some UV resin on the back to make sure that the back piece stays on, and to kind of finish it off. So I have this little scribe tool. I got it out of a cake decorating kit on Amazon. And we're just going to spread it. I want to make sure it covers the entirety of that back piece. And it needs to go down the sides of that back piece in order to get it completely covered. Make sure it goes out all the edges. This just finishes the back off too. And you know what? If they're just for you, you're not giving them away or selling them or anything like that, you may not necessarily have to do this, but without knowing what I'm doing with these, I want to make sure that they get finished off nicely. So, and then lay that down, and I'm going to go ahead and cure it because this doesn't seem to be very level, and I don't want that coming off, or I don't want it. See how it's kicking to the left a little bit? Better not use that. That's what I had my resin on. I'll be curing it to my stick. All right, it doesn't have to cure fully. I just want it to set. So, and then we'll go ahead and finish the rest of these. So here's our finished products. You can see the ones that we did, this one, this one, this one, and this one. The rest of them are just an assortment of different ones I have done over the last couple weeks. Typically, I just use, this is a great way actually to use leftover resin to make either gifts, or you can sell these or keep them for yourselves. I work in an office, so these go on my peg boards at work. And I have lots more on the side here that are currently drying. But like I said, this is a great way to use all of your leftover resins, is just to get a mold that has these tiny little, I don't know if these were pendants. They were pendants, actually. Let me show you. So, and they had the little nubs in them like this. You can tell this one's so old. Some of them had the nub, you can see it there, and on this one, none of these had the nubs on them. And I just cut the nubs out of these two, because when you hang them on a pendant or something, they hang wonky because one side's bigger than the other. So I just cut those out, and that's how I get these bigger pieces. And then I just poured my extra resin into those, and then I'd take a small charm or some glitter or some of these colored rhinestones, these teeny tiny little colored rhinestones. That's how I got the backdrop on some of these. And this one here. And then I have these rhinestones. I keep them in an old orange juice jug. But you just take these gold ones. But if you have some of these, you can just take the part that you would hang it on a piece of jewelry with, take this piece here, and you just snip it off. And I'm not going to use that one because that's, here's a heart. I'll do that one. Here's a heart. We'll show you how to do it on this one. And I have these little pieces probably all over my craft room because when you cut them off, they go pew. But you just take a little pair of wire cutters and you go up right against the charm and you just snip it off and then turn it over and do this side. Come on. There we go. This one didn't go pinging across my room. But there's the little round piece. That one actually came off as a whole. That's the first time that's ever happened. And then you're left with your charm without the little ring on it. And then you can just put that. I got a couple here that I don't have anything on. They're not finished yet. But you just take that and then I would, on these, good Lord have mercy, my trimmers are bad. I would just drop a dollop of UV resin down into the middle of that just to secure it wherever I want it. And then cure that. And then you can embellish it around the edge with glitter or with those little rhinestones. I've already got the back glued on. I'm just waiting on it to dry. And do whatever you want to. A lot like I did this one. It's just a little, it's exactly what it is. It's just a silver heart instead of a gold one. And then I encased it in the UV resin and it's ready to go for whatever I need it for. Oh, on these heart ones with the seashells in them, I have a bunch of seashells in all different shapes and sizes. I got these in the glass jars with the lids on them. I got these, whoa, the lid wasn't on that one. I got these from Dollar Tree a long time ago. But you just take those, and I have a heart mold that I believe it's for cakes more than anything else, for like the fondant and stuff, and it's in bad shape too, so ignore that. But I chose these smaller ones because those will work better for the size that I'm looking for. And I just took those seashells and I put a couple of them in there. I put resin in the bottom. I actually use real resin, non-UV resin in the bottom because you're not going to be able to get a light down to the bottom of that. And then I take the seashells and I lay them upside down, and then I'll put a little bit more resin over the top. You don't want a lot because your seashells float. And then let that cure really, really good. And then I just put a blue back on the back of these so that it looked like it was water. And that's how I got these. And then the clear resin, I took some of my my Unicone crushed crystal and I put it in the clear resin so that it had just a little bit of shimmer in it. So I'll get you some close-ups of those. But that's how I did these two hearts. And this one I did just a white background on it instead of a blue. And I put just a teeny tiny drop of blue resin or blue alcohol ink in the resin. Actually, I think this was left over from something. And it was super duper light. So I just poured that in there, put the shells in there, and backed it with white. So lots of different ways to do that. You can also make these independents. You can make them into earrings. You can put studs on the back. You can drill a hole in the top of them and put oh my gosh, I can't think of what it's called. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? These eyelets, that's what I'm thinking of. You can put an eyelet in it and turn them into dangling earrings. So there's so many different options. This is a really great way to do this. I'm actually looking for something with shapes of this size in a bigger, I'd like a full one of these. Maybe I'll try and make one. I've never done a silicone mold. I've never made my own yet, but maybe this is a great time to try and make my own. So anyhow, I hope you guys had a lot of fun with me today. And I hope you learned something. Hopefully you have an idea of some ideas of things that you can do with your extra resin. And we will catch you guys when we get back from vacation next week. I don't know if I'll have time to do another resin. I don't have another project in the works for next week. So if I don't have one, maybe I'll just show some pictures of our vacation. So we'll see what happens next week. But until then, I hope you guys have a fantastic week. And we will see you next time. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye-bye.